name is Delerme, and my group topic is the exploitation of minors, and I'll be focusing on child labor. So first, Raina will be focusing on human trafficking, Samantha will be doing child soldiers, and Tori will be talking about forced marriage. So first, the problem is that child labor is work that deprives children from their childhood, and it's a dangerous amount of work that exceeds reasonable work hours, taking them away from school. It takes away the children's right to a proper education, so they won't be able to actually learn. And in most cases, families are trapped in a cycle of poverty, and some children are forced to work under threat of violence or even death. And in the picture on the low right is a child in Australia transporting materials in harsh working conditions. However, Australia is not the only country. There are others like China, Africa, and as well as children working in the United States. Economics. So family poverty and poor schools are two major reasons why children in low-income countries are in child labor. However, it's not just low-income countries. About 84 million children are in child labor in middle-income countries, and around 2 million are in child labor in high-income countries. Now, each year more than 1 million of these children are victims of human trafficking, so that's in a way mine ties in with Raina's topic. And about 250 million children are working in the entire world. So overall, children in child labor have no protection. So there are a few types of working environments. Agriculture would be the main one, and it takes up 58.6%, as you can see in the graph, and it consists of farming, fishing, and forestry. There's also retail and services, and that consists of 25.4%, and that has to do with when children are working in restaurants, hotels, transportation, and storage. You also have industry and manufacturing, and that takes up 7.2%. And that's when children are mining, or in construction, or making items and selling them. Now you also have domestic work, and although it only takes up 6.9%, it makes them more vulnerable to exploitation because they're hidden from the public. And it consists of work usually in homes, whether they're taking care of children or cooking, but they can also be harmed that way as well. Now, there are a few temporary solutions to child labor. One of them would be to educate yourselves and be more aware, so the more your children know about child labor, the more they can try and protect themselves, and it's really important that parents teach their children about real-world problems. You can also contact retail stores and manufacturers, and what this does is you can kind of ask the origin of a product that you're about to buy to see where it came from. That way you're not supporting any products that involves child labor. You can also start growing your own fruits and vegetables, and like I mentioned earlier, it takes up 58.6% of the agriculture portion, so that's where more than half of child labor comes from. So if we can grow our own fruits and vegetables, we can try and eliminate that portion of child labor. You can also contact local or regional legislators, so you can try and pass a law to make sure no products in your city, country, or state are made with child labor. And while these are great temporary solutions, there is my solution, which is the SCLM law, stands for Stop Child Labor Merchandise. And what this does is give agriculture, for example, if you have 5 children working on transporting vegetables, that farm will be fined $50,000 because it's $10,000 per child. And that's considered the warning. However, in this case, the farm, if they keep forcing children to work with transporting and producing vegetables, they will no longer be allowed to sell and produce vegetables. So it's not to make, in this case farm, it's not to make them go out of business. However, it will come to that if they keep forcing children to work. And the reason why my solution is so important is because originally the United States Fair Labor Standards Act that was implemented in 1938 was supposed to help reduce the amount of child labor. However, it didn't include agriculture, and that's where more than half of child labor comes from. So my solution covers all types of child labor. Now, steps we've taken locally. The IHE stands for Institute for Humane Education, and it's an organization that helps children live safe and healthy, and they've been doing this for over 30 years. This organization is affiliated with Cambridge to offer the first master's education degree for the program in humane education in the U.S. They've helped prevent issues like child labor, and their website helps spread awareness. There's also the American Federation of Teachers, and what they do is that they help children with their education and health care to make sure that they get back on track with their real lives and recover mentally and physically from child labor. There's globally part one. So Humanium is an international organization, and it helps to stop the violation of children's rights, including child labor. They've been doing this throughout the entire world, and it was founded in Geneva in 2008 with a single purpose, focusing on the well-being of children. Now, this is globally part two. The Bureau of International Labor Affairs, also known as ILAB, is an agency combating exploitative child labor. It works with organizations like World Vision to help prevent and address child labor around the entire world. They've actually helped reduce child labor by 94 million, which is about the population of the United States. So if they can do that, imagine how much more they can help children around the world. They have contributed to a global effort and have seen rates of hazardous labor cut in half since 2000. Now, this girl on the right, her name is Ima. She's 13 years old, and she said, when I worked at the shrimp factory, I could not dream, and I felt that I should not dream. But with the help from World Vision, I was able to leave the factory where I worked in Bangladesh and return to school. So World Vision was able to get her back on track and allowed her to go back to school. So if they were able to help her, they're able to help many other girls and boys like her out in the world. Now, why the solution? The temporary solutions that I mentioned earlier, as well as my solution, will help prevent child labor. Children will no longer be in harsh working conditions, and their physical and mental health will no longer be at risk. They will be able to have a proper education and overall just allowed to go to school and live a normal childhood. Thank you.